Hello, I'm Father Louis Scurti with a different kind of edition of Friends of the Word, the Weekday Word. We're here at Annunciation Parish in Wayne, New Jersey, because my guest is from Annunciation Parish, Nick Gemma. Welcome, Nick.
Thank you, Father.
Nick is the Grand Knight here at Annunciation of the Knights of Columbus, and I have Father McGivney's picture here. We're going to talk about who the founder of Knights of Columbus is. And maybe right now, why don't you tell the audience what a Knight of Columbus is?
Okay, the Knight of Columbus, as we said, is a member of worldwide fraternal organization. The Knights of Columbus, the Knight portion of it, refers to the fact that we are members of an army, as the Crusaders were during the Middle Ages. We are modern-day Crusaders, crusading for the principles of Jesus Christ here in our world today, trying to help his church, trying to help particularly the less fortunate in his church.
So the Knights is focused on serving the poor in the church, besides other...
I would say there's two main focuses: helping the poor and fighting for the pro-life activities.
Okay.
Focus on abortion and on assisted suicide.
Okay.
Those are two main right-to-life issues, and then our other focus is on helping people in need.
Yeah, and I guess as a church, our whole focus is life from conception to natural death and old age, right. And everything in between. So it's interesting. Didn't you guys do a collection for babies' clothing at one point here?
Well, actually, that was several sources.
Okay.
Several sources who do the baby shower once or twice a year. But the Knights of Columbus support a number of different organizations. We financially support several sources, as well as there's a home in Clifton called Grandma's Place, which is a tremendous a facility that helps young unwed mothers, both expecting children and who are bringing young children up, who need to refocus their lives. And what's great about it is they're not just giving them things, material things. They're taking them in, they're allowing them to live in this place for a year and teaching them life skills, so that they can help themselves when they're finished.
It's so important because we hear all the time, pro-life, 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 and no abortion. But we never focus, I shouldn't say we never, we seldom hear enough focus on how to take care of that woman who finds herself pregnant, how to take care of her, how to work with her so she doesn't have to abort the child, or if she wants to put the child for adoption, or if she wants to develop life skills. That's so important. So it's a holistic, it's a healthy approach to life.
That's one of the reasons why we're drawn to this particular facility.
And you're also very involved with persons with disabilities.
Yes, we collect every year for the disabilities foundations, and we also are very concerned in general with family values, and we ask our members to pray the rosary on a regular basis for all of these particular goals of the Knights of Columbus.
That's excellent. And I remember receiving a pair of rosaries when I became...
Oh, that's a very important part of being a knight. That's
excellent. Okay, the founder, Father McGivney, I want to know all about him. What can you tell us about him?
Well, unfortunately, there's not a whole lot because he died at a very young age. He died about 38 years old.
He did something important.
He did, yeah. Well, I mean, in his short period of time, he accomplished quite a lot. He was born in Waterbury, Connecticut in 1852, and to a family of 13. He was the...
Irish.
Yes.
God bless him.
And like most families of that size, they lost a number of children in childbirth or very early stages, and we know that was typical back in those days. As a matter of fact, that's one of the reasons people, I think, had a lot of children. They knew they weren't all going to make it until old age, unfortunately. Plus, also, they were insurance in many cases, and Michael J. McGivney was no different than any other kid at that particular time. He was going to try and go to school, which was a privilege at that particular time in history.
Yes.
But unfortunately, at age 13, he had to leave school and go to work and help support his family.
Sure.
His father was a molder in a Waterbury brass mill, but just wasn't making enough to support a family of that size. So he left school and eventually was able to enter into the seminary in Canada.
Oh, really? Wow.
And spent a couple of years in the seminary there, but his dad passed away. Had to leave to help support the family. I went back into the seminary, this time in Maryland, completed his work, and became a priest. As a priest in Waterbury, Connecticut, he took from his own background, from his own experiences, particularly losing a father at a very young age and the difficulties that his family faced, and decided that it would be a good idea to develop some kind of support system for the members of the parish who were basically facing the same type of situation. So he brought a group of men together. They contributed financially as well as spiritually to widows of men in the parish.
Oh, interesting.
And this is how the Knights of Columbus began.
Yeah, wow. Taking care of our own.
Taking care of our own. It was like an insurance company that it's, of course, grown into being one of the greatest insurance companies in the world today.
Right.
It is one of the highest rated insurance companies that there is today in the world.
In the scriptures, we often have reference to widows and orphans, widows and children left because their fathers have died, and how it's the burden of the society to take care of them. It's the obligation of society to take care of them. Because if they had no husbands and no male support, they had to beg. So I don't know how different it was here in 1800s with
Probably
Michael,
not a whole lot.
It sounds very similar.
Yeah, very similar.
That's great. So he comes together, taking care of the children and widows of the men of the parish.
And that's where the Knights of Columbus got their roots and has blossomed into what it is today.
That's fantastic.
Now, he has been since venerated, as you know.
Yes.
And he's venerable Michael J. McGivney, and is moving towards sainthood.
Just for our sake of our audience, venerable is the first stage toward the process of an individual becoming canonized, a saint. It could be years, it could be decades, any amount of time, according to his life, his writings, his behaviors, miracles associated with his life, and of course the whole focus of the person's life, in this case his charity and his love for the poor, as well as respect for life in general.
Right.
Great man of his times and really thinking of the future.
Now I'm not sure exactly what the circumstances are, but there is a miracle that he supposedly performed that is being investigated.
Yes.
And when this investigation is over, he probably will be canonized at that point.
Well, next step would be beatified.
Okay.
It's venerable, beatified, and then canonized. Yeah. But it's a long process because it's to investigate. It's really an exhaustive investigation of an individual's miracle associated with him or her. So all the documentation has to come in, and it has to be examined. It has to go to Rome, and it has to go before the authorities there. So it's a long process. We're talking about Michael McGivney, recruiting success, and young man, died in his 30s, founder of pneumonia, founder of the Knights of Columbus, worldwide fellowship, fraternal fellowship throughout the world for the church, for the sake of fidelity to life and service of the church. And thank you so much. This has been really interesting.
Thank you.
And we'll be back and finding out what you guys do here at Annunciation.
Thank you.
Thank you, Nick. This has been Father Louis Scurti with Nick Gemma, Grand Knight of Knights of Columbus, Annunciation Church, Wayne, New Jersey. I'd like to hear from you. FatherLouScurti@hotmail.com.